Today's episode is all about video marketing, and we've got Tyler McCulloch here to share with us tips and tricks that will lead you into all different aspects of video for your social media and beyond. Also, stay tuned for my Pick My Brain segment, where we answer questions about email marketing statistics and a few of my favorite things from shoes to sweets and one other in between. Welcome to Make It Happen. Hello, and for today's Pick My Brain, we have a question from Elka Bostwick, who is one of the top producers in the Pottery organization. She left me this great question, and I want to share it with you. She says, now that I have an email system and I've started email marketing, what should I track to know if my email list is working? I think this is a great question. I am a huge fan in 2022 and beyond. This is never going to die, regardless of anything else that you do in your marketing and social media. Email marketing is one of the top things you can do to grow your list. Your list is gold. I love that you're growing your followers on social media. You know, I love social media, but growing your list really should be one of your top priorities this year. And so this question is great to know, well, how do you know what's working and what's not working? I am thrilled when clients come to me and tell me that they have something over a 15% open rate. Now, even better than that, you would have an open rate that's higher, but some people are like, oh, only 15% are opening my emails. And in a cluttered space, 15% is actually great. And then once you know where you are, work on increasing those open rates by improving your subject lines. So track where you are right now, see what's happening, improve your subject lines, and see if you can increase the open rate. The other thing that you can do to consider increasing your open rate is evaluating the time of day that you're sending your email. If you're sending it first thing in the morning when they're getting emails from everyone else, that might not work as well as if you send it after the morning rush. If you're sending emails on the weekend and you typically have a business clientele, they probably are more likely to open your emails Monday through Friday, or even Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are the peak days for business, because Monday feels pretty busy catching up from the weekend, and Friday people are kind of checking out. So that's something else that you can test in terms of your open rate. Obviously, in addition to your open rate, you can test things like your conversion rate. My email management system will tell me how many click-throughs I'm getting to my website from the links that I included. And so I will track that as well, see if some links do better than others. And then I will also sometimes do A/B testing. So through Keep, which is my email management system, and it is not necessarily the right fit for everyone, but could be right for you and your business. I'll include some details down below on a few different email management systems that could be right for you to try if you're brand new. But in Keep, I have the ability to send 2 different emails with 2 different subject lines and do testing, and I can test them side by side. And we did this in preparation for Marketing Blueprint. I had 2 different emails with 2 different subject lines and 2 different sets of copy. We sent half of my list one email and half of my list the other email. And then we were able to go through and send a second email based off of the data and the information that we got. And again, we tracked open rate, we tracked the click-through rate, and of course, we track sales conversions. Sometimes those are trickier to track because there might be a number of different things happening in an email, but those are my 3 key metrics that I would track with every email that you send. And then you can constantly work on the information that will help you to make the adjustments necessary to improve those statistics. Thanks for sending in your question, Elka. I wish you the best in your email marketing in this year. And if you have a question you'd like me to answer on a future Pick My Brain segment, you can send it to michelle@speakmichelle.com. Put Pick My Brain in the subject line, or you're always welcome to reach out to me through social media and send me your questions there as well. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Speak Michelle. I'm excited to have my videographer and friend, Tyler McCulloch. No relation, by the way. I feel like you have to say that every time.
You do.
We even spell our last names differently, though, because we are in some of the same circles. We frequently get, are you married? Are you brother and sister? No relation, just in case you were wondering. Tyler is one of my favorite people to work with, and I was just doing my taxes and figured out I have given him more money than anyone else in 2021.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm sure I'm not your biggest client either, but for me, you're my biggest vendor. Anyway, the real bio of Tyler is that he has done video work. I don't know what the right word is, but we'll just call it that, for the last 10 years. And he's worked with big brands like Dell and small brands like Michelle McCulloch. and everything in between. We met through the National Speakers Association Mount West chapter, where he has done a lot of work for some of the top speakers in the country. And Tyler, welcome to Make It Happen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
It's fun to have you on this side of the camera.
It is, because I should be doing some things over there, and instead I just am hoping it's all working correctly. So we might have to redo this whole thing. I don't know.
You can fix it in editing.
Yeah, that's all we do, really.
I believe in you.
Yeah.
Okay, so today I'm interested in having a chat with you about video trends. Like, what are some of the things that you're seeing? I know that because you have your head in it all the time, you're doing work for companies, you're doing work for speakers. What are some of the things that you're seeing now that are staying, that are continuing? Because I look at video trends, but sometimes people just hop from one thing to the next, and I feel like there is some consistency in the industry, but maybe I'm wrong. Are there things that are staying from one year to the next that you're still seeing being big in 22 and beyond?
I mean, things are always changing and evolving, and things work now that didn't work before, right? The number one thing, though, that I will say is video is working. And that's a big thing that, like, if you're watching this, there's a perfect example of how, like, hey, this is working, stuff is working. And I think a lot of companies, especially smaller companies, know that they should be doing video, but then never actually commit to it, never actually do anything. So first things first, just do it. Do some video. Things that are working in 2022. I hate to say this. It breaks my heart. But short form content, think TikTok is blowing up. It's what's working. And as much as I hate dancing and pointing to words on the screen, I have sent you videos where I've been like,
hate it.
Can you believe this has 3 million views? Like, some girl is just like, and you're like, what? Who decided that was good? But we collectively have decided that is good. So, and whether it's dancing and pointing to words on the screen, I think a lot of people are consuming video at work, where they are not allowed to be listening to things, whether via headphones or whatever. And that's why the stupid pointing to text on the screen works, is because people aren't unmuting these videos.
Correct.
And so things with captions, things with words built in, whether it's stories on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok Reels or anything, that is superior. People have short attention spans. They want to watch something short, and people are usually watching on their phones. So vertical video too. So again, it pains me to say, because I am a fan of the long form stuff shot with nice cameras like this and edited well. But if you just film some garbage on your phone and point to some stuff, that's probably going to work pretty well.
It's working great.
Oh gosh.
Well, I think you bring up a really important point, because even Facebook will tell you that 80% of videos on Facebook and Instagram are watched in silent, like muted mode.
Yeah.
So like you said, whether they're at work or something else. So that it's also really good to know that short form content is great, but also people are watching it without sound.
Yeah.
So I do the same thing too. Like, if I'm scrolling while my family is sitting watching TV and I'm multitasking and catching up on the social media for the day, I'm not listening. So sometimes people are talking and they're people I really like, and I was like, oh, I'd really love to hear what they're saying, and just can't do it. No can do.
Yeah.
So if it's silent, I can look at your things on the screen. I can read your captions.
And you get the gist of it. You know
totally get the gist.
Yeah.
And even the people who are doing stories on Instagram and Facebook where they're adding captions, I can follow along with that too and just read that as well. And which is so interesting to me. Like 4 years ago, that wasn't even a thing.
Right.
Like auto captions was like, oh, wouldn't it be really nice if it just saw it for you and you never thought that would happen? And now here we are, and things are changing. Yeah. Okay, so short form content, which we can ironically say on a long form video, and it doesn't hurt my feelings at all.
And one thing though that's working, and a lot of people are utilizing, is taking your long form stuff and breaking it into short form stuff to kind of tease things. That's one thing that's working really well. I have one client who wants to do that. He's like, I want to be posting 3 times a day these short videos that all come from my longer videos. So he'll take this 15-minute educational video and say, go find 45 seconds three different times of like just juicy stuff, and post that separately as a vertical video. Like we shot it just like this, but then we'll crop it so you only see his face. We'll put some words on the screen, and that people love that enough. And then hopefully that drives people to then go consume the full length thing. So
sweet, let's do that.
Can
we do that?
That's great. There you go. There's a good strategy, a tidbit that you say, hey, people love this stupid content. Not stupid content, stupid short form, vertical phone video stuff. And then if it piques their interest enough when they're watching unmuted or muted, right? And then they go, oh, cool. When I have time, I should go watch the whole thing. Whether they do or not is up to them, right? But that's kind of a strategy that's working right now.
Okay, I like that. While we're on this subject, I was just saying to a client the other day that in any social media platform, Your job is to do whatever they're putting emphasis on. So like right now, LinkedIn videos are big, but LinkedIn Live is bigger. And not everyone can do it. But because that's what LinkedIn is focusing on, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to play on LinkedIn, yeah, you can post an article. Yeah, you can put posts up, but you really should be doing the things that people are focusing on. But every single platform right now has some sort of video element that is their top thing. Instagram is Reels. Facebook is Reels. Stupid, dumb Reels. And YouTube has always been around. But are you seeing any trends in terms of specific platforms that are doing better with YouTube or doing better with videos in general that you think through or that you're doing work with clients on?
So you brought up a good point that live is a big thing too. That, I mean, it was already a big thing. Everyone wants to like think that they're engaging with you directly and being live. And so a lot of platforms are still pushing that. The pandemic pushed that even further to like, you have to like, here it is, right? So being live, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the algorithms are still pushing live streams more than uploaded content. So that's something to be aware of. Otherwise, Facebook's making a huge push, as they always have, to be like, hey, we are almost a video first. Like if you want photos, go to Instagram, which they own Instagram still too, right? But as far as watching videos and watching longer videos, like Facebook's the place to be. A lot of people will have Facebook open on their browser, and so they can still watch. I mean, obviously they still use it on their phone, but plenty of people are using it on the desktop and watching Facebook videos. Facebook's trying to do more recommended videos and try to get you staying watching videos longer, just because they realize that there's not enough, articles and food posting, that video is what's going to keep people on Facebook the longest. So they're pushing hard for that.
It is also view bait. Can I tell you about the video that I saw last week that I thought, I cannot believe I watched 4 minutes of this video, okay? It was a woman in a wedding dress, okay? With a cake, okay? That she says she's going to decorate by putting a funnel in, and then she adds all of this like different colors of frosting on top. Yeah. And so she's like, and she's got, I'm watching this all, I'm not listening to a single thing. I like cross-apply previous conversation. I'm not listening. I cannot hear a word she's saying, but she's doing this hand gesture and she's putting all of this stuff in, and she's like showing how it's all just going to cascade down these 3 tiers. And she adds green and she adds pink and she adds blue. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to see. I'm sure this is the most amazing cake ever. You're laughing because you know exactly what's going to happen. Then she throws some sprinkles in the same funnel. And I was like, if I have spent the last 4 minutes watching her mess up a cake just for me to get views, I'm going to be pretty TO'd. It has 3.3 million views.
So you know it's good.
Well, 3.3 million people think it's good. I mean.
That's how you know.
And I'm like, how on earth? And so then so I was like, finally I have to fast forward. Okay. Fast forward. Yeah. Like you talk about short form content. This was a 24-minute video and it was a flop. Yeah. Right? At the end, she pulls it up and of course it's terrible. And she was like, I'm sure at the end she was like, suckers, I can't believe you watched 24 minutes of this, which I only watched 4 minutes and then sped to the end. Right. But see, it's interesting because as a marketer.
Were you fed an ad before in that 4 minutes?
No.
Okay.
I was not. Interesting, because I was watching for that too. My marketing brain goes to work on some things. But I watch things like that, and then as a marketer, I'm like, okay, I'm throwing everything away. Like, what on earth? I can't even compete with that. Yeah. I cannot compete with wedding dress cake fails that she did on purpose. And then I have to ask myself the question, well, what on earth is her purpose? Like, what is she doing? And what is that? So I think the psychology of it is interesting because, and I think one of the hardest parts that I have to tell my clients is just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean you should. And yet at the same time, there are things that you should watch. And of course, I watched one of those videos and 4 more came up.
Absolutely. Because you obviously love, the algorithm was like, this girl loves
She watched
cake
4
videos,
minutes
for sure.
of cake fail videos. And they were the exact same. Oh, yeah. The funnel in the cake, the pulling up. And I was like, is this like a trend? It never went well. None of the times. But it's so interesting to watch because, and I didn't mean to talk the whole time. There is a question in here. Yeah. But as a video marketer, and for the people who are watching and listening, how do we compete with some of the craziness that's going on? And how do you stay in your lane and focused on the things that you're doing in a weird social media world?
That is a good question. And it's funny that you brought this up because this was on Facebook that you're watching this. So it's interesting. I just discovered this a little bit ago, is that the way Facebook pays out and has views and everything for their creators is just based off of how the length of the video and not necessarily the engagement for how long they stay there. So there's this one guy whose name I've forgotten because he doesn't deserve to be remembered, but he makes videos that are at least 20 minutes long. And the one I watched, which I did not watch all the way through, I just like click, 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 click. It starts and it's got some patriotic like, saving a woman from a fire, right? Yeah, like, and so this guy is in full firefighter gear in his own home, and there is a fake fire light in the bedroom. Like, you can tell, like, that's a crappy, like, he bought that off of Amazon, and it's
came the next day.
It's simulating a fire, right? So he is in this firefighter garb with an axe, and he goes into a bedroom, doesn't break down the door because it's his bedroom and there's no actual fire. He just opens the door slowly. And for 18 minutes, the camera does not move. It is just on an empty hallway, and you think he is saving someone's life. Now, I don't think that because my name is not Bertha, and I'm not 89 years old on Facebook, right? Martha probably would be. I don't want to offend Berthas or Marthas, but Bertha's like a different. Okay, anyways.
And not Karen's.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Doesn't move. Nothing happens. The fire doesn't. There's no sound. Like, there's a little bit of a sound effect, a fake sound effect he's put in. And then he eventually walks out with who I assume is his wife or girlfriend in his arms. She has passed out from the fire, and she's draped in an American flag, as firefighters often do when they save people, right?
They've got one in the back pocket.
Yeah. And he like pauses and looks at the camera and then walks off screen, and that's the whole video.
There's like not a point even.
And he had millions of views, and I don't know how, and I'm sure he made more money on that video than I have made in my lifetime, and it infuriates me. So, and I tell you this story because it's much like at least the cake, she was doing something the whole time. He literally set up a camera and didn't move it, and like probably went in there and played a game of Uno with his wife while they waited. Like, was like, all right, are we at 20 minutes? Okay, that's the ad revenue, here we go. And like all of his videos are like that, where he just lets the camera roll and nothing's really happening. So, how do you compete with that? You don't. You don't compete with that because some crazy people somewhere are going to watch that and he's going to get Facebook ad revenue from that. But I think what you as a marketer, as a business owner need to know is you're not trying to compete with that. You have your target audience, and that's who you want. The correct eyeballs to watch your stuff and then do something. And that has always been my take on my video business, is that I'm probably not going to make a viral video that Michelle McCulloch gets a couple million views on, but I want to make a really high quality video that Michelle McCulloch gets 2,000 of her raving fans to watch and then go, oh my gosh, that was so good. I need more of that. I need more of what Michelle has to offer, that sort of thing, right? And so that's my take on it, which, hey, if you're aiming for virality, great, good for you. There's a specific formula that you need to be following, and then putting money behind that, significant amounts of money behind that, as far as in the creation and in ad spend. But that's how I think you win as a small or medium business owner, is figure out which eyeballs you want and then make something that caters directly to them. So you know that you're never going to have a firefighter with an American flag million of view video, but that your plastic bag principle is going to, have a great response from people that you want to have respond.
Totally. And sometimes I think to myself, I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to quit and become a Facebook creator and
just dump
put on
stuff
costumes
into cake.
And figure out something and just see if maybe Facebook will just pay me and I don't have to do anything else.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I also know I have a mission and I have a message and I have things I want to do. So I can't get distracted by that. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned through this process of video is it's easy to get distracted by bright, shiny objects and other things that are going on. And you got to stay, and you hit the nail on the head of something that I care about, which is, what is your target market? Like, my target market all day long is not going to watch a cake video. And if I were to make a cake video, that would defeat the purpose of what I'm doing. And so I got to stay in my lane and do the things that matter the most.
Yeah. Now, if you want to try making cake videos, you can.
It could be cool.
There could be a whole market there.
It could be.
But know that it's not going to, might be a while before it takes over your marketing blueprint business. Yeah, I know.
Baking high performance, one cake at a time.
That's great. There we go. We just made that brand right now.
Made the brand right here. You heard it here first.
It's coming.
Heard it here. Okay, so in the marketing blueprint, which you record for me and you've watched, we talk about, and I show two different episodes. Two different episodes is the wrong word, but two different kind of videos. I'll put them in the links below. One of them is for Clever Cutter, which is totally low brand shot on a phone, probably production, but tells a story. And one is high budget chat books. Yeah. And of course, they've spent millions of dollars creating their viral videos. And to your point, they have put a lot of money behind them. And they both work, right? Yeah. They both do different things. I think it's easy for small business owners and even medium-sized business owners to get caught up in the overproduction of things. And I know that's hard to say when I'm sitting in a production studio with a wall that I love.
It's great, isn't it?
But at the same time, like, what would you say to the people who are just getting started or who are hearing this conversation and going, I know I should be doing video and I'm not, and I'm nervous and I don't want to throw up a whole studio. What would you recommend for somebody who's just beginning?
Absolutely. There's a million different ways to kind of take this, but again, I always just say, just start, just do something, right? You know you should be doing video. Some video is better than none video, which is terrible grammar, not even close to correct, right? But I actually advise some people, I just had this conversation last week. I feel like I'm constantly having this conversation where someone says, oh, I'm doing this on Instagram. It's working really well. I want you to film it for me so the production value gets taken to a higher level. And so for instance, this guy was a fitness influencer, if you want to call him that. He owns his own gym, but as well as he has his online programs and whatnot. He came to me and he said, hey, I do these videos just with my phone where I just shoot like this and I'm talking and I'm give him a quick fitness tip or a eating tip and say, hey, you know, caloric intake, da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, man, some of those videos respond better than any of our other videos. So I want you to film. And I said, hey, I'm happy to do that. Don't think that I don't want to do that for you. But here's, I think, why those videos are performing so well is because we put out some of these high production workout videos where I'm shooting these crazy angles with music and lens flares and titles and stuff. And then for them to pop up and be like, oh, here's the guy in that video just talking to me directly on the phone. That's why that video is performing well. And so sometimes audiences connect more to authenticity or direct to phone camera videos than they do to someone like me who comes in with lights and cameras in a studio and whatnot. And so that's not true for every audience. And there's definitely a place for a balance between the two, but know that you can still make really crappy firefighter cake videos and people will watch them. You can still just talk in your kitchen with your cell phone with no lights at all or use the window light. Like, just get started, right? Just make something and know that your audience is going to connect with something. Yes, I would always recommend paying the best professional videographer based out of Vineyard, Utah that you can find, right? But there's actually a lot of those, so that wasn't just me. It was. I always recommend that, right? But test stuff out. I mean, I've had clients who I've been working with for 6 months who then say, hey, I love working with you. Your videos look great, but my audience responds better to selfie videos on the phone. And I will be the first one to say, hey, if that's what's working for you, great. Then keep doing that and stop paying me, you know? So yeah, just start and figure out what works for your audience. If it's really high quality produced videos by the Harmon brothers, or if it's, shot on your cell phone or on a potato, just get it done. Make it happen. Right?
I like it. And I think that, and I appreciate you sharing that because I have found the same thing to be true, that there are some videos that we've done that have just been with my phone that have done better than videos that I've done in a studio. And then at the same time, there are some instances where being in a studio matters. But I didn't start with this.
Right.
Like, this is the first time I have invested in a studio experience because everything else has been just whatever I could do on my phone or my computer or whatever. And you got to start somewhere and just actually do it. Because I think that's the trickiest part. The other thing that I will say, and you can add some flair to this too, is I think framing is important. So like if you're trying to pretend that you're doing professional videos on your camera, I think that is a disconnect. But I think if you're just like, hey, it's behind the scenes, here we are, we're talking about it, and you're setting it up in the right way, that works. The same thing is also true in reverse. So Tyler and I hired Tyler to help me with a client. We were doing videos for someone who's an expert in their field, and we walked in and it was 5 o'clock day. And it did not matter what we did. It was really hard to get the client pepped and happy. And I got the footage at the end and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do because we're trying to position him as an expert. And we definitely want that to be what we're doing for what he was doing. And what we ended up doing is just framing it in the comments and in the social media where we just said, hey, we just grabbed so-and-so at the end of the day, wanted to just pick his brain on a frequently asked question. And that helped us allowed us a ton of flexibility in what happened that day instead of like scrapping the shoot and saying, oh no, this is totally dumb. So any other thoughts in terms of how to set things up or to frame it when you're working with your audience so that they know exactly what they're getting?
Yeah, I think that's a great point of how you're going to deliver it. That, hey, maybe your energy wasn't right or whatever it was, but sometimes people love, even if you didn't, like some people love hearing like, oh, I just jumped out of a workout. Let me share my top 3 tips or whatever. I just, this is right off the top of my head. If you start, even if you've been preparing all day and this is the 6th time you've shot it, right? People love the thought that like, oh, I'm just peeking into their life right after, oh, hey, I just finished dumping crap into a cake and then it didn't work at all. Let me share with you the actual correct way to make a cake or whatever, right? Some of those ways make people, pique their interest and really get them ready to listen to your message.
Awesome. My last question for you before we go on, and then if you have any other tips that we can share before we go, because that I didn't ask, please do. I think that a fair amount of this, even still, like I've been making videos for 10 years, you've been making videos for 10 years, your videos have 2 million views combined and you do amazing things. I still feel like to a certain extent, I'm testing everything all the time. And that I like what worked 2 years ago doesn't work the same as it does now. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions about how to stay agile in a changing environment and to feel better about that? Or do you feel like I should just stick with something and do it and stop testing things around?
No, I think that, I believe marketing is just testing, right? There's a reason we do A/B testing is because nothing's going to work 5, 10 years ago, 1 year ago, 1 month ago, the same that it's going to work today, just because we live in an ever-evolving world. Technology is ever evolving, everything's ever evolving. So it's more of a mindset change, I think, that like, yes, you're always testing things. I'm always testing things. You're always testing things. Think of the biggest brands in the world. They're testing things, right? Sure. And sometimes it doesn't work. It's not like, oh, Michelle, stay in your lane, pick one thing and stick with it. It's everything's always changing. Maybe this will work one day and it won't work the next day, and try something new. But if you love it and if it's working for you, then keep doing that. That's all it is. And then you shared, I'll share this too, that you shared about chat books, about, that video spent millions of dollars creating it with the Harmon brothers, who I'm good friends with. And I've actually helped them make a video just last month with the Harmon brothers. Fun. So shout out, Defunkify.
Oh
yeah. You should watch it. It's a laundry detergent. There's a whole barbarian story. Anyways, I was assistant editor on that. So boom,
Sweet.
Harmon brothers. So I know the ins and outs of how the Harmon brothers work. They make 12 different versions of every video they create. They put all 12 of them live, and they put exactly a set amount. In my case, it was $5,000 behind each of those 12 versions.
Their A/B budget is giant.
Which it could be larger than that.
Sure.
I think chat books might have put 10 grand behind each of the 12 versions. And then they run those for 7, 14, or 21 days. And at the end of that period, they go, okay, which of the 12 versions with the exact same budget performed better? They look at the analytics and go, boom,
that's the
version
one.
6 that had one sentence difference here or one joke different or whatever. That's the one. And so you take A, B, what's 12 letters of the alphabet, right? The A through Q or whatever, like they're testing that much different stuff. And then they're still adjusting because you've had the same link in your PowerPoint for chat books and you're like, oh, that doesn't work. Well, that's because that was version 6 that they picked and they're on to version 21 already. And so they're willing to put the money behind it, test in order to get the absolute greatest performance. And they're constantly tweaking and changing little things here and there. And so, yeah, just don't be afraid to make those changes and throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
For sure. And each business is different. And I watch a lot of copycatters in my industry, which to a certain extent, like rob and duplicate, like R&D, if you can make something work for you. And at the same time, I've also watched people be really frustrated that they tried to do something that somebody else did and it didn't work.
And that is frustrating.
And it is.
Super frustrating.
But I think you have to figure out what's going to work for you, what's going to work for your brand, what's going to work for your budget, and just go for it.
Yeah.
Any last bit of advice for our video marketers in the world?
Again, if you don't think you're a video marketer, become one, right? Everybody has a camera. Probably you might be watching on your camera currently or have your camera in your pocket. Phone cameras are so good nowadays that you can use them just fine, the front or back facing camera. So just get started, do something. Like, yeah, you might not have the budget to hire someone like me or someone like the Harmon brothers, but you have the budget to try it yourself and give it a shot. Try it because this is what people are doing. Again, if you've made it this far in the video, you are someone who watches videos. So don't you think that your target audience would also appreciate watching content and experiencing something from you and your brand as well? So just get started.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for being on Make It Happen.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching. And we are cheering you on in your video marketing skills. And we'd love for you to share with us what's happening. So feel free to email me at michelle@speakmichelle.com or tag me in your social media videos. And I would love to see what you're putting together. Make it happen. Okay. It is time for my favorite things, and I get excited about this for every single episode. And today's favorite things were not hard to come up with, okay? I got these shoes. My dear friend Paige found these for me. She is also my favorite fashion stylist and gives me lots of tips. I put this outfit together by myself, so if you don't like it, it's not her fault. But she bought these shoes for me and found them at the Nordstrom Rack. I think they were like $30. And I was like, $30 for canvas shoes? But they are the most comfortable shoes. They're super fun. They brighten up any outfit. And so I decided I was going to go on a search for Franco Sarto shoes. And turns out they were like originally $120 or something, and $30 was a steal. And then I needed more Franco Sarto shoes. And you can buy them directly from the brand, and they're expensive. My favorite tip for you is to find them from the Nordstrom Rack. I just got these little beauties. I feel like Fred Rogers right now. I almost did it. But this is so fun. They just have lots of other shoes. They have more than just this style. But what I like about this for me is that I can speak in these shoes. They're still a bit of a pop and something a little bit fun and different, but they are so incredibly comfortable when you're running around a hotel convention room. And anyway, Franco Sarto shoes. We have talked about other drinkware on this show, and I like it all. But I just wanted to give you my review on the Stanley Cup, which I have had for a little bit over a year. My daughter got this at a gift exchange at Christmas in 2020, and I traded her gummies for this. P.S. I got the better end of the deal. And I've kind of used this here and there over the last year in 2021, mostly for water at home. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to be better and I'm going to take it with me. So one day I went into the store to get my soda, and I just put it in the Stanley Cup. And this is the first time I've done this. But this week I have gone and only exclusively used the Stanley Cup. I love a good styrofoam cup, okay? It keeps it cold. It doesn't melt the ice. And I'm a huge fan of styrofoam cups. So if I go into a gas station and there are no styrofoam cups, I am sad. Now, for you environmentalists out there, I want you to know I do care about the planet, and I try to recycle in other ways because I really need my styrofoam cups. But turns out the Stanley is the best thing that ever happened to the planet. You're welcome, okay? Because now I love this. It keeps it even colder than a styrofoam cup. It is, just so that you know, we're recording this in the morning. It is 9:15 a.m. The last time I got this filled up was last night at 6 p.m. There are still full pellet ice cubes, but the ice is still in here. It is incredibly impressive. So in case you're wondering, Stanley Cups live up to the hype. I will put a link below. Unfortunately, they have the market and are super good about supply and demand, and so they rarely have them available. But when they do, you can find them at the link that I put in the bottom. And I don't make a single penny if you buy one, but just you can think of me when you sip your cold beverages. Okay, item number 3. I usually don't go this long on favorite things, but I'm really excited today. This is Nerds Gummy Clusters, and I don't think I've talked about them before. If I have, that's how much I love them. I am not the kind of person who will go into the store and buy a box of Nerds. I mean, sometimes those little tiny Halloween ones, I will eat one a season just because my kids have them, and I love the strawberry kind. But these gummy clusters have kind of changed my life. You've probably seen the Nerds rope. I think this is the sister. This is like just a little nugget of Nerds rope. And it is Nerds just hugging a piece of licorice or something gummy, and it is delicious. Gummy clusters. I can't put one in my mouth right now, or else I won't be able to talk to you anymore, but I was tempted for just a second. There's also a link for these. You can get them shipped straight to your home, or get them at the gas station, which is where I get them all the time, and they're fantastic. So there you go. Just a few of my favorite things. Thank you for watching Make It Happen. I hope you found a tip or trick or two that you can use as you grow and build your business in 2022. Please make sure that you subscribe so you can find out about future episodes of this show. And I would be honored if you would leave a review so that other people like you can find this show based off of the thoughts and the comments that work best. If you're not sure what to say, share one of your favorite pieces from this episode. Lots of great nuggets from Tyler that could be potentially helpful. And I would love for you to leave your review and information here. As always, thank you. And I honor you for giving me time in your day. I wish you the best in your life and in your business. Make it happen.